Horror movies have come a long way over the past century, with the genre stretching out to so many subgenres including slasher, supernatural, torture, and even comedy. However, when you combine all of those subgenres together into one big list, which are the most successful, which made the most money, and which didn't deserve to have our attention? Today on Top 5 Scary Videos, I'm going to be counting down our list of the top 5 worst horror movies that made millions. Before we begin though, be sure to stick around until the end of the video where I'll be responding to some of your comments. And with that, let's jump in. Coming in at 5, Paranormal Activity 2007, $107.9 million. Paranormal Activity is a 2007 supernatural horror movie written, directed, photographed, and edited by Oren Peli. The film centers on a young couple, Katie and Micah Sloat, who are haunted by a supernatural presence in their home. They then set up a camera to document what is haunting them. The film utilizes found footage conventions that were mirrored in later films of the series. Upon its release, the movie received mostly positive reviews, with an overall rating of 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, with the general consensus reading, using its low budget effects and mockumentary method to great result, Paranormal Activity turns a simple haunted house story into 90 minutes of relentless suspense. Now, while it is a truly terrifying movie and one that many return to, it has become oversaturated in recent years due to unnecessary sequels, which in turn deterred viewers from revisiting the original movie. The jump scares are predictable, and the style is cheap but effective, though it had the fear the acting left a lot to be desired, with at times being ridiculously cheesy and unwatchable. Saying that though, the film opened on September 25th of that year to 12 theaters and took $36,000 on its opening day and $77,000 on its first weekend. However, as it expanded to more theaters, the film went on to gross $7 million, with it going on to reach the highest per theater average, coming in 4th for the weekend behind Couples Retreat, Zombieland, and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. On the weekend of October 23rd, Paranormal Activity rose to 1st, beating out Saw 6, earning $21 million. Overall, the film has grossed $107 million domestically and $85 million in foreign markets, with a total gross of $193 million. Coming in at 4, The Ring 2002, $129.1 million. The Ring is a 2002 supernatural horror film directed by Gore Verbinski and is a remake of the 1998 Japanese horror film Ring, based on the novel of the same name by Koji Suzuki. In the movie, Naomi Watts portrays a journalist who investigates a cursed videotape that seemingly kills the viewers 7 days after watching it. Now, the film is enjoyable. It's a classic horror from the early 2000s and is definitely a movie I return to frequently, but saying that, it's not a great horror film and we need to accept that. Also, there is nothing more annoying than the young boy calling Naomi Watts Rachel throughout the entire movie. She's your mum, just say it. However, everyone has differing opinions, including critics, with one person stating, "With little gore and a lot of creepy visuals, The Ring gets under your skin thanks to director Gore Verbinski's haunting sense of atmosphere and an impassioned performance from Naomi Watts." However, on Ebert and Roper, Roger Ebert gave the film thumbs down and felt it was boring and borderline ridiculous. He also said he disliked the extended, detailed ending. Saying that though, The Ring paved the way for English language remakes of Asian horror films, including The Grudge, Dark Water, Pulse, One Missed Call, The Eye, Shutter, Mirrors, and The Uninvited. The movie was financially successful and the box office gross increased from its first weekend to its second. The Ring made $8.3 million its first 2 weeks in Japan, compared to Ring's $6.6 million total box office gross. All in all, the movie ended up raking in a whopping $129.1 million. Coming in at 3, The Meg 2018, $145.4 million. The Meg is a 2018 action horror movie directed by John Turteltaub and loosely based on the 1997 book Meg, a novel of deep terror. The movie follows a group of scientists who encounter a 75-foot-long megalodon shark while on a rescue mission at the floor of the Pacific Ocean. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film has a rating of 46%, which I believe is pretty just. The movie is in no way Oscar-worthy, but it is compelling and an enjoyable thrill ride from start to finish. I honestly had the best time watching this film. However, most were a little harsher with their criticism. I quote, "The Meg sets the audience up for a good old-fashioned B-movie creature feature, but blacks the genre thrills or the cheesy bite to make it worth diving in." Owen Gleiberman of Variety put it best when he wrote, "It is neither good enough nor bad enough. The Meg, a rote sci-fi horror adventure film that features a shark the size of a blue whale, comes on like it wants to be the mother of all deep sea attack movies, but it's really just the mother of all generically pandering, totally unsurprising Jaws ripoffs." In 2019, the movie was nominated for a handful of Golden Raspberry Awards, including Worst Prequel, Remake, Ripoff, or Sequel. Sadly, it didn't win any of them. Despite all of that, The Meg grossed $145.4 million in the United States and Canada, as well as $384.8 $108.8 million in other territories for a total worldwide gross of $530.2 million against a budget of $130 million. After making $16.5 million on its first day, weekend estimates were raised to $40 million. It then went on to debut to $45.4 million, topping the box office and marking the best solo opening of Jason Statham's career, as well as Turtle Top. Coming in at 2, It Chapter 2 2019, $195.7 million. It Chapter 2 is a supernatural horror film and the sequel to the 2017 horror movie It, both based on the 1986 novel by Stephen King. The film is directed by Andy Muschietti, returning from the first movie. Set in 2016, 27 years after the first film, it stars Jessica Chastain, James McAvoy, Bill Hader, and of course Bill Skarsgård, who returns as Pennywise the Dancing Clown. The plot once again concerns Pennywise, who was defeated by the members of the Losers Club, and in turn returns 27 years later to terrorize the town of Derry, Maine once again. Now adults, the childhood friends have long since gone their separate ways, but when people start disappearing, Mike Hanlon calls the others home for one final stand. On Rotten Tomatoes, the movie holds a rating of 63%, but I have to disagree. I felt the sequel was a weak interpretation of the novel and felt rushed instead of relying on the steady pacing of the book. The clown felt like a small threat unlike in the first movie, and the casting choices felt a little bizarre, aside from Jessica Chastain, who was quite literally born to play the role. All in all, the film had a relatively muted impact and delivered very little thrills and scares throughout, instead doing what almost horrors do and just give away all the jump scares in the trailer. Despite that, It Chapter 2 grossed $211 million in the United States and Canada and $261.4 million in other territories for a worldwide total of $473 million. In the United States and Canada, the film was projected to gross $90 to $100 million from 4,570 theaters in its opening weekend, and the week of its release broke Fandango's record for most advanced tickets sold by a horror movie. The film made $37.4 million in its first weekend, including $10.5 million from Thursday night previews, the second highest total for both the September opening and horror film, behind the first film's $13.5 million. Went on to debut to $91 million, also the second best ever for a horror film and a September release, while being over $30 million less than the first movie. And finally coming in at number 1, The Nun 2018, $117.5 million. The Nun is a 2018 gothic supernatural horror film directed by Corin Hardy and is a spin-off of 2016's The Conjuring 2 and the 5th installment in the Conjuring Universe franchise. The plot follows a Roman Catholic priest and a nun as they uncover an unholy secret in 1952 Romania. On June 15, 2016, Warner Bros. Pictures and New Line Cinema announced The Nun as a spin-off to The Conjuring 2, which at the time had opened just 5 days earlier, which is insane. Big moves, big dreams. On June 13, 2018, a teaser trailer was released for the movie but was ultimately removed from YouTube due to an unskippable jump scare that violated the platform's shocking content policies. Lol, I kind of love that. Anyway, The Nun opened to mixed reviews, leaning towards negative, with it holding a 26% on Rotten Tomatoes, with the general consensus reading, "The Nun boasts strong performances, spooky atmospherics, and a couple decent set pieces, but its sins include inconsistent logic and narrative slackness. The movie was sadly predictable and wasted all of its quality jump scares on its unskippable trailer. It was a sad installment in a generally satisfying franchise." Despite its negative reviews, The Nun grossed $117.5 million in the United States and Canada and $248.1 million in other territories for a total worldwide gross of $365.6 million against a budget of $22 million. In some territories, it currently ranks as the highest grossing horror film of all time in 12 markets, including the Philippines, Indonesia, Brazil, Romania, and UAE. Unfortunately for us, it sounds like a sequel may be in the works. In August 2017, One discussed the possibility of a Nun sequel and what its storyline might entail. I quote, "I do know where potentially, if The Nun works out, where The Nun 2 could lead to and how that ties back to Lorraine's story that we've set up with the first 2 Conjurings, make it all come full circle. Interesting, but I think we could all rather forget The Nun even existed. Waste of time. It's also the Farmiga we don't care about. I only care about Vera Farmiga, not Taysa Farmiga. Why am I even talking? Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with that list? Were there any terrible horror movies that we missed? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below and perhaps we can do a part 2. Before I go though, I just want to respond to a few comments from one of our last videos. Top 5 scary Irish urban legends. Jacques Morgan said, "Thanks Lucy, I'm heading to Ireland soon and now I have more places to visit. Just don't go on the bridge because someone will pull you down and you'll die. So, fun times. Enjoy Ireland." Lilith Gold said, "That cat's face is a mood." You're a mood, Lilith Gold. Christopher Mendes said, "The only thing we want to see more than a part 2 is the return of Lucy's hat. The hat was back yesterday, so keep your eyes peeled. I filmed a few videos." enjoy. Katie McEwen said, another, the crowd demands another. Maybe. I don't like when people ask for things. You'll get it if I say so. Cowboy Powell said, gonna be honest, just want to hear Lucy say my name. Cowboy Powell, you're welcome. And on that note, if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another scary vid. Until next time, see you later. I'm tired of talking, you know? Just nothing makes sense anymore. Gooch. What's that? What am I even saying? Gothic? Sure. Hey, everything sucks, everything sucks.